For this week's Daily Race B in GT7, we're at the Nurburgring GP Circuit and a Gr.3 cars for the third week in a row. However, we're on racing medium tyres this time, which I thought would be a bit easier to manage, but the cars are still as slippy as a greased ferret. Throw in the fact that this is quite a technical circuit that I didn't really know very well, and you have all the ingredients for a challenging week. Despite all that, I've spent some time getting the hang of the combo and managed to wrangle a lap guide out of it. We do have some setups this week, as well as brake balance, so I'll put the details for that at the end of the video. As you've probably noticed, I'm in the 2018 Nissan GT-R GT3, so let's see how to chuck it round some corners. Heading down the main straight, we cross over the line to begin the lap. You want to be over to the right hand side and looking out for the first brake marker, which is the start of the grass on the left. Notice that the track kinks off to the right a little bit before this, so make sure you follow that before braking or you'll run off into the grass. I'm looking to turn in after I go past the hut on the right and aiming to clip the curb on the bend. I'm a little wide here, ideally you should have your inside tyres going across the curb. Be careful of clipping more than this as the drop can kick out the back end of the car. I switch up to second before I get back on the power to help with traction, but even with that you need to be very careful accelerating out of here and don't turn in too tight. Head over to the centre of the track, then use the corner of this building hitting the edge of the screen to signal turning back in for the next bend. You want to stay as tight as possible to the curb on this bend, so try not to come in too hot and go wide. You should be able to take it in second gear, but drop to first if you need more rotation. Be careful of putting a tyre on the grass, which will cause the car to slide and make it tricky to get on the power for the exit. You can start to slowly feed in the power once you see this red car, but watch out for the rear trying to step out as you go around the bend. If you get right over this curb, it helps to give you a wider angle into the next turn. You'll be starting to turn in as you go past this lamp on the left, and then brake in as you aim for the curb opposite. You want to get right over this curb as well to give you the widest angle into the next bend. Use the gearing and throttle to keep your rotation matched to the corner as you go around. This is a really tricky turn coming up. You need to get on the power as early as you can, whilst avoiding braking traction on the rear of the car. Coming in at a wide angle can help with this, so try to follow the rubber marks on the track. I'll start in second gear for the rotation and then short shift to third to help with traction as I get on the power. You want to cut right across this curb as well, being careful not to take too tight a line out of the bend. You can go quite wide over the lines on this bit, but you want to avoid going so wide that you have to cut across the grass to get back onto the track. Build the speed down this straight and you're looking for the next braking point, which is the start of the line after the junction. You'll be braking and changing down to third, whilst aiming for the apex opposite. As soon as you hit the apex, you're aiming to get back on the power. The next braking point is the start of the curb on the right. You'll need to brake and swing out a bit in order to get a wider line onto the bend, changing down to first for the rotation. Once you get past the apex, you'll be short shifting straight up to third to give you extra traction out of the bend, and then building up the power. Be careful getting on the power too soon, it can cause you to spin out or go wide on the exit. You should just ride the curb on the left as you build up the speed, and then stay over to the left as you head down to the next braking marker, which is this grey curbing on the left. You want to start braking once your car is fully onto the curb. Alternatively, you can use the tower on the right and brake just before that hits the edge of the screen. Brake in a straight line and then turn in to hit the apex on the right. I drop down to first for the rotation as I follow the curb round. Ideally, I'd be a little bit closer to the curb at this point to prevent me going wide on the exit. Once you have the grey curbing in front of you, double shift up to third for the traction and then build on the power onto the straight. Make use of the runoff as you exit the corner and then head over to the right for your next marker, which is this bloke over on the right. You can use the end of the fence, but I find the orange marshal uniform catches my eye better. This is a turning in point rather than a braking point, as you'll ideally be going flat out through this next section. You need to be right on this curb in order to make the next part flat out. If you're wide of this, you might need to briefly lift off the throttle to make it through. From here, you'll be aiming for the opposite corner. You'll be cutting straight across this curb as you aim for the left side of the track on exit, being careful not to stray onto the gravel. From there, head back over to the right hand side and start looking for the braking marker, which is these trees on the right. When they hit the edge of the screen, brake in a straight line and then turn in just before the 50 board. Aim to be in second gear when you hit this corner and then you'll short shift up to third for the exit. As you build the power, you want to swing out to the left to give a better angle for the next corner, and looking out for this marshal over on the left. As you pass him, dab the brakes and drop to second to give you enough rotation for the next bend. Once you hit the apex, ideally a bit closer than I have, short shift up to third and start building on the power, being careful not to go too wide on exit. Make use of the runoff and stay over to the left as you come down the straight, swinging over to clip a chunk of this curb on the right hand side, and then staying right until the next brake marker, which is just before the 100-meter board. You can use with a patch of thinning grass ends, but that can be difficult to spot at speed. Brake in a straight line, dropping down to second, and then turn in just after the 50 board. You're aiming to get as straight a line through the chicane as you can, without unsettling the car too much or picking up a penalty. Your right side wheels need to stay on the first curb, and your left wheels need to stay on the second curb. Aiming for this flexible bollard can help you line up the right path. Keep in second gear through the chicane, but avoid putting the power down as the car bounces, or you'll probably spin out. Similarly, wait until you have a good angle on the exit before getting on the power after the chicane. You might want to short shift to third to help with the traction. Once you clear the chicane, stay onto the left for the next braking marker, which is these huts on the left. Brake in a straight line, drop to second and turn in just after the orange barrier ends. Wider line into the corner helps reduce the chance of you spinning out. Aim to hit the apex on the way round, short shifting up to third for more traction on the exit. Watch out for going too close to this armco as it's easy to catch it by mistake. Build up the power on exit, being careful not to lose the back end of the car. You can make full use of the runoff, avoiding the gravel, and then power across the line to finish the lap. The lap is shared in game, search for Gr3 in the discovery section if you want to check it out. There's a link to the video in the description for how to use that as a ghost. Also in the description is a link to the setup I've used from Digit's website. Good luck with your races, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.